The storm rolled over the wide Montana plains, lightning clawing at the sky as if it wanted to tear open the heavens. Rain battered the roof of the old ranch house, each drop striking like a hammer against inside. The lantern light flickered weakly, shadows crawling across the log walls. Ethan McAllister sat at the heavy oak table, his calloused hands resting on the wood, the smell of damp earth clinging to him after a long day of work. He was a man who had faced hard winters, floods, wild animals, and even men who thought themselves wolves, but nothing had prepared him for the sound that cracked through the storm of the frantic pounding on his door. He rose to his feet, boots echoing against the worn planks, and swung the door open. A figure tumbled inside, soaked through, hair plastered to her face, eyes wide with terror. She collapsed at his feet, her whole body shaking like a leaf caught in the wind. Her lips trembled as she tried to form words, her voice hoarse from crying. "They'll kill us all," she sobbed, clutching at his coat, her small hands digging into the thick fabric as if he was the last barrier between her and death. Ethan froze, a chill running through him that had nothing to do with the storm. He slammed the door shut, slid the heavy bolt into place, and leaned against it for a moment, his breath unsteady. The girl's fear filled the room, raw and suffocating. He had seen fear before, men in war who knew they wouldn't live to see the sun, cattle cornered by wolves, but this fear was something deeper, something primal. It carried the weight of truth. He knelt beside her, gripping her shoulders gently. "Who?" he demanded, his voice low and steady despite the way his stomach twisted. "Who's gonna kill us?" Her teeth chattered, words spilling out in broken fragments. "They know a broken bar I ran, a broken bar I wasn't supposed to tell Annie, a broken bar they'll come here, broken bar they'll burn it all, kill anyone who helps." She broke into sobs, rocking forward as if her body couldn't contain the terror that consumed her. Ethan's jaw clenched. His ranch, his cattle, his land, it was all he had left of his family's legacy. But the way she spoke, the way she trembled, told him this wasn't some childish fear. This was real, and it was close. He grabbed a blanket from the chair and draped it over her, tucking it around her soaked shoulders. "Easy now," he muttered, though his own voice shook. He had always been the solid one, the immovable rock. But right then, cracks were forming inside him. He had no idea what kind of monster she had escaped, only that it was still out there, hunting. The girl clung to the blanket, but her hands still gripped his shirt. Her eyes darted toward the door as if expecting it to burst open. "You don't understand," she whispered. "They don't care who you are. If they think you're helping me, you're already dead. Please, broken bar, you have to let me go. If I stay, they'll kill us all." Ethan's chest tightened. His instincts screamed to protect her, to stand against whatever evil was coming. But another voice, colder and more rational, whispered for him to survive. He pictured flames consuming his barn, gunshots ripping through his walls, men with cold eyes stepping over his threshold. His stomach twisted with dread, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He pulled back just enough to look into her eyes. They were wide, filled with terror, but beneath the panic was something else, a desperate flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, he would fight for her when no one else had. His throat tightened. He wanted to tell her she was safe, that no one would hurt her here. But the words stuck, strangled by the fear that had gripped his chest. For the first time in years, the rancher shook, not from cold, not from anger, but from a fear that went bone deep. Her voice cracked as she repeated it, weaker this time. "Please, don't let them take me back." Thunder boomed overhead, rattling the windows. Ethan's hands trembled as he pushed a strand of wet hair from her face. He didn't know who they were yet, but he knew enough. Whoever had driven her to his door was ruthless, organized, dangerous. He had seen that kind of power before in war, men who believed they could crush anyone and anything in their way. And he knew that once men like that had a target, they didn't stop. He lifted her gently to her feet and led her to the chair by the fire. She sank into it, still clutching the blanket as though it were her only shield. He crouched in front of her, close enough to see the fine tremors running through her body. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. For a long time she didn't answer, staring into the flames as if afraid the fire might betray her secrets. Finally, in a voice so soft he almost missed it, she whispered, "Maria." "All right, Maria," he said, his own voice steadying even as his insides churned. "You're safe here. No one's gonna hurt you tonight." Her eyes snapped to his, wide with disbelief. "You don't understand. You can't fight them." His jaw tightened. "Maybe not," he admitted, "but I'll sure as hell try." The storm outside raged on, but inside the cabin, the silence between them was louder than thunder. Ethan rose, checked the rifle hanging above the mantel, and loaded it with practiced hands. His fingers shook, though he tried to steady them. He had hunted wolves, fought men, survived droughts and blizzards. But this was different. Protecting his land was one thing. Protecting another person, especially one hunted by shadows he didn't yet understand, was something else entirely. Maria watched him, her face pale, her eyes hollow. "They'll come for me," she whispered. "And when they do, broken bar, they won't leave anything behind." He paused, meeting her gaze. Fear gnawed at him, but something else stirred deeper inside, a stubborn, unyielding resolve. Whatever storm was coming, he wasn't going to let her face it alone. He set the rifle by the door, then returned to her side. His hand hovered over hers before finally resting on it. It was small, cold, trembling beneath his rough palm. "We'll face them," he said, his voice low but fierce. Together. The wind howled outside, shaking the cabin to its bones. The storm was only beginning.